Well, Claudie, Orbs, Eli and Charlie, this is chapter 2 in our story. The summer was nearly gone. Days and nights had grown cooler, and Sariah had found peace and happiness since her talk with Nephi, when he reminded her of the goodness of God and how he watched over those who kept his commandments. Now she made honey cake for supper. She sang softly to herself. She was so interested in what she was doing that she didn't notice Lehi come in. When she finally looked up, she saw him watching her thoughtfully. "Oh, Lehi, you frightened me. How long have you been standing there?" "I'm sorry I frightened you, my dear. There is something I must tell you." "Come, Lehi, sit down. You look worried." "Yes, I am. I have something to tell you that I'm afraid will make you very unhappy." Sariah stopped stirring the honey cake and asked, "What is the matter?" "What is it, my sons?" "No, my dear, it is only that we must leave this house and Jerusalem at once." "Leave this house?" asked Sariah. "You must be joking. This is our home. Here are all the things we have." "But if I stay here, I'll be killed," said Lehi. Now Sariah liked her home, but she loved Lehi and her sons, and so she said at once, "The first thing tomorrow morning I'll begin to get everything ready for us to leave. How long will I have?" "Thank you, my dear. I'll help you. We must leave as soon as it's dark." "Surely you don't mean we are to leave tonight?" "We couldn't possibly get ready that quickly. God has commanded me to go. He spoke to me in a dream. He called me blessed for keeping his commandments. But because I did as he commanded, my people planned to kill me, and in my dream he commanded me to leave Jerusalem at once." Sariah was silent so long that Lehi turned to look at her. He saw great tears rolling down her face. "Very well," she said. "I will have this honey cakes made very quickly. There are still several hours before dark, but even so, there won't be time for everything. We will have to leave some of our things behind, won't we?" "Yes, I plan to take only provisions and tents." "But surely you will take the gold and the silver and precious things?" questioned Sariah. "No, we'll have no need for these things in the wilderness. We'll just have to leave them at home." For several minutes Sariah just stood motionless, thinking of all the comforts she had in her house. It was bad enough to leave the house and the land, but to leave things that she could keep as well. She couldn't understand it. And what about the boys? How would they take the news? Knowing her sons as only a mother can, she believed that Sam and Nephi would understand and would even help in the preparations. But with Laman and Lemuel, it was different. They liked Jerusalem, their friends, and the good times they were having. They would hate to leave it. They would quarrel with their father and perhaps even refuse to go. When night came, all preparations had been made. Everything had happened just as she thought. Sam and Nephi had understood, but Laman and Lemuel sat silent and angry. They had quarrelled with their father and would have refused to go had not Lehi grown so stern with them that they dared not disobey. When Lehi closed the door of the house for the last time, Sariah was glad it was dark, so her family couldn't see the tears rolling down her cheeks. The darkness had come so quickly, and it was so dark with dark clouds in the sky. When they reached the shores of the Red Sea, they were all so tired they rested until morning. For 3 days they travelled along the shores of the sea until they reached a valley. Here Lehi pitched a tent and built an altar, a stone to God, and gave an offering. Lehi called the river that ran through the little valley and emptied into the Red Sea Laman. He called the valley Lemuel. He thought it would please Laman and Lemuel to have the valley and the river named after them. Laman, my son, I wish you could be like this river, forever running into the sea of all goodness. And Lemuel, I wish you could be like the valley, strong and firm and true to the commandments of God. Who wants to be named after an old river and a desert? Well, he said. Foolish is right, agreed Laman. How could you think for a single minute that a great city like Jerusalem could be destroyed? I think we are all foolish. No wonder the Jews laughed at you. But you had to go on telling them all about their wickedness and their evil doings until at last they wanted to kill you. If you weren't my father, I think I want to kill you myself. That's bad. Look at us now, complained Lemuel. You have exposed us to the weather and all these sorts of hardships. We will freeze on a night and it is too cold. They expected their father to become angry and shout at them, but instead he stood quietly by them listening to them. When they were through, he half closed his eyes and stood silently praying to God, asking his spirit to guide him. When at last he looked at them, his eyes were so bright they looked like burning balls of fire. And when he spoke, his voice was so powerful that it shook the bodies of Laman and Lemuel. Do what they would, they wouldn't stop shaking. When he stopped speaking, they were so frightened to say anything to their father. They went away, promising to obey him. To Nephi, who stood nearby, it was like a miracle. He went out from the others and prayed that he might know the mysteries of God. While he prayed, he was filled with the Spirit of God, and he knew that all his family and his parents, what he told them, were true. He found Sam and told him of his prayers. Sam believed that Nephi told him, and he had faith. But when he told Laman and Lemuel, they were angry and turned away. With a sad heart, Nephi prayed again to God to soften the hearts of Laman and Lemuel.